Codes used to communicate during World War II by Cadence and Paisley Vizel. World War II was a very tragic moment in history. It started on September 1st, 1939, when Adolf Hitler invaded Poland. This caused Great Britain and France to proclaim war on Germany. World War II extended for 6 years and 1 day, spreading throughout Europe, East Asia, and islands in the Pacific Ocean. Around 45 to 75 million people died during the war. Around 6 million of them were Jewish. The first example of a code that they used during the war is that the Germans used a number code to identify Jewish prisoners at Auschwitz by giving them tattoos on their forearms. World War II ended on September 2nd, 1945, when the Allies accepted Germany's surrender. This was about a week after Hitler had committed suicide by swallowing a cyanide capsule and shooting himself in the head.
There were numerous codes used during World War II. One of the more popular codes was the Enigma code. Enigma has a motor mechanism that scrambles the letters of the alphabet. One person enters the text on the Enigma's keyboard and another person writes down which of the 26 lights above the keyboard lights up each time the key presses. Germany used the Enigma machine until 1941 when Alan Turing broke the code using the bombing machine. The bombing machine was a mechanical device that was similar to the action of several Enigma machines wired together. The standard British bombing contained 36 Enigma equivalents, each with 3 drums wired to produce the same scrambling effect as the Enigma motors. Alan Turing broke the code in Bletchley Park, but it was kept a secret until 1941 when the full story came to light.
Alan Turing was an English mathematician, pioneer of computer science, and a pioneer of artificial intelligence. He was born June 23, 1912, and died June 7, 1954, 9 years after World War II ended. He graduated King's College, Cambridge in 1934, and soon after started working as a codebreaker with his partner Gordon Welchman in Bletchley Park. He later invented the bombing machine in 1940 and broke the Enigma code. The Enigma machine was invented by a German engineer, Arthur Scherbius, shortly after World War I in 1918. After several years of improving his invention, the first machine was revealed in 1923. Enigma was developed by Scherbius' first company, but was built by Georgschaft Securitas. The machine was back then known as Die Handels machine. The purpose behind the machine was to protect commercial, diplomatic, and military communication. It was employed extensively by Nazi Germany during World War II in all branches of the German military.
The bombing machine was created by 2 codebreakers at Bletchley Park, Alan Turing and his partner Gordon Welchman. Bletchley Park staff worked around the clock to try and break the settings by hand. This was slow work, so Alan Turing designed the bombing machine to speed up the decryption process by a vast rate. The machine was perfected by his partner Gordon Welchman, and the first bombing started work in 1940. Bletchley Park was once the world's best-kept secret and key part of the country's war effort against Germany. The Turing-Welchman bombing machine's purpose was to decode Enigma encrypted messages about enemy military operations during World War II.
The Geheimverschreiber, also known as the T-52, was a code used by Germany in World War II. The T-52 was a mechanical cipher machine used for teleprinted signals developed by Siemens and Hausk. It was one of the main cipher machines of the German army during World War II, being used alongside the Enigma, the Lorenz SC-40, and later the T-43. The T-52 was an online machine, which means that it operated directly on the online teleprinter signals. Messages, entered in clear, were immediately printed in clear at the other end.
The Sig Sally, also known as the X system, used by Great Britain, played a significant role during World War II. The system went into use in April 1943, just a little before the invasion on Italy, and it was used until 1946. The X system was used numerous times during World War II, mostly for talks between the British Prime and the U.S. President. The X system used the noise mask to encrypt voice conversations that had been encoded by a voice recorder, and the latter was used to minimize the amount of feedback, and also to reduce the amount of information to be encrypted.
In 1935, members of the Bletchley Park staff designed the Sigma machine. They shared its design with the Navy. In 1940, the Army and the Navy both purchased Sigma, and the system started in use by 1941. It was used throughout World War II and was so reliable that it was used in the 1950s, but it was soon replaced by machines like the KL-7.
The SC-40 code was created and used by the British to communicate during World War II. The SC-40 was also known as the Tunny and only needed one operator, unlike the Enigma machine, which needed 3 operators. Tunny's operator simply typed in a plain German word at the keyboard, and the rest was automated by the machine. The encrypted output of the Tunny machine went directly to a radio transmitter. This machine was invented by the Ultra Group in 1941 in Bletchley Park.
There are some codes that are used today to communicate, such as the military alphabet. This code uses the beginning of letter of a word, and each letter means something different. For example, A means Alpha, B means Bravo, C means Charlie, D means Delta, and E means Echo. Each one of the words have a different meaning. Alpha means beginning, Bravo is short for Bravo Sulu, which means well done, Charlie means threat level high, Delta means threat level critical, and Echo means extended healthcare option. Additional codes used today are discharge codes, also known as separation codes. There are multiple types of discharge characters such as drug use, also known as BLF, parenthood, also known as GCD, financial irresponsibility, also known as JKE, bad conduct, also known as BCD, dishonorable, DD, entry level, also known as ELS, or non-characterized. There are codes that are used today that aren't used for defense or the military, but in things we use in our daily life, such as cell phone codes. Every specific phone has codes that associate with them. For example, the code *#06# is a code in all smartphones that shows your display IMEI number, which is your phone's identification number. The code *#07# shows your SAR measurement, and *4636** is used to show the display of your phone, including your apps and batteries. These types of codes are known as a telephone prefix code.
World War II was a very significant moment in history, causing the end of the European Age, the rise of the U.S. to superpower status, and the expansion of the rise in USSR to superpower status, and more. Numerous people were forced without compensation to leave their property. Evidently, codes and machines like the Enigma machine, the Bombay machine, the Geheim Schreiber, the Sig Sally machine, the Sigaba machine, the SC-40 code, all had a great impact for the codes we use today, for example, the military alphabet, discharge codes, and telephone prefix codes.